Howdy howdy! Welcome back to my channel. You say that as if we've ever uploaded a video like this before. Shush! Anyway, today's video is going to be a bit different than my usual art and gaming. Today I will be going over this ARG I found. I first discovered this ARG on my college campus after class a while ago. I found a few of these posters up around the building. They're missing persons posters for a person called Ruby. Now, okay, first of all, we're going to address the disclaimer at the top. I mean, it makes sense for an ARG to put something like this since it's supposed to be a missing poster. Probably didn't want the police to investigate. So, at the bottom of the poster is a website link for a blog site by a person named Emma Martin, who introduces herself as Ruby's older sister and says that her sister has been missing for a while now. Now, looking through her first couple blog posts don't really give us a lot other than that introduction. But now we're getting into the clues. Clue 1 is Ruby's diary. Now, we don't get a lot in terms of information, but we are linked to Ruby's Tumblr. Damn, never expected an ARG to include a Tumblr. Now, the Tumblr itself doesn't have a lot of clues other than some info on Ruby herself and her life. Seems like she had a partner who wasn't the best, fights with her sister, eventually finding a new job at Mexis, which brings us to our next two blog posts. First, clue number 2, website. So, apparently the Mexis website isn't available at the moment, so one of Ruby's friends who knows how to do stuff transfers the website to Ruby's Wix account, because apparently Mexis also uses Wix for their site, just like Ruby. Or Emma. Not Ruby. One of them. Anyway, the website itself, kind of boring. There's some locked areas, information on the company, stuff like that. The company, however, is familiar. If you remember Ruby's Tumblr, Mexis is the company that Ruby got a job at before she went missing. $5, it's the company's fault she's missing. Shush! Anyway, the website talks about Mexis, this company run by a man named Leopold Lunara, who apparently hates cameras because he is not looking at us. It goes on to talk about how he founded the company in 1954, which is dedicated to improving healthcare outcomes, insurance policies, and law firms. Whatever that means. I'm not 100% sure about what Mexis does, but apparently they have a bunch of businesses and workers under them, considering they have so many departments and department heads, which are all Leopold's children. Jesus Christ, he's like 8 kids in this economy? Also, apparently all of them hate the camera because none of them are looking towards us. Anyways, some areas are locked, like Leopold's employee description, Franklin and Lily's... Wait, Lily? Okay. On the next blog post, we see Emma has gotten an email from someone named Lily, who tells Emma that there's a lot more than you know. Weird. And attaches an interview transcript. Now, going through the transcript doesn't really say a lot. It's between Ruby and Richard, who is one of Leopold's children, and all we can learn from this transcript is that Richard Lunara truly lives up to his name of being a dick. Burn. Now, even though the transcript doesn't really give us a lot, the blog post itself does, as at the bottom of the page, very faintly, there's a jumbling of letters and numbers. Now, putting that through a cipher identifier, it comes back as base 64, which, personally, one of my favorite ciphers. So, putting that through a decoder, it comes back as Mexis 1984. Finally, a code. We're about a page and a half into this script, and we're just getting to the codes and ciphers. Jesus. So, there's no clues as to which of the many locked areas on the website this one opens, so I kind of just brute forced my way through it, plugging it into all of them, and it opened up Leopold's employee page, so I guess it worked. It gave us a news article that's been edited to not show the photo, again, a version to cameras, but it tells us the story of how Mexis was developed. One of the things that stuck out to me towards the end of the article we see is a mention of how the company got its name from a poem that his wife Linda wrote. It's kind of cute. Moon's eyes are always guiding. Every night when I'm asleep, my dreams are forever crying. My mind it can never keep. A little weird. So I'm going to guess that the M-E in Mexis stands for Moon's eyes. A little weird, but I ain't judging. We're all a little weird on the internet. So now we have an origin and a wife, though it did say late wife, so by the time this article was written in 1984, she's dead, so we have some kind of timeline. We don't know how long she's been dead, though. So the news article didn't really have any other clues about the locked areas, so I decided to look other places, and while frustrating and just keyboard smashing and moving my mouse around because I was throwing a tantrum like a toddler, I saw a hidden code on Leopold Jr.'s page. Apparently, there is a highlighted section of another base 64 code. So, again, had to plug it into one of the locked areas, and it worked on Franklin's employee page. So, go to Franklin's employee page, punch in the cipher, which is Leopold Jr. 2007, and it's a lot. So, it's a report from Leopold Jr., who is a doctor, talking about how Franklin has been diagnosed with some mental illnesses. And if you read further, they talk about a surgery to create a ditch within his temporal lobe. For those who aren't aware, this is the procedure used to give someone a lobotomy. They lobotomized him. Sadly, we don't have time to dwell on that. Very messed up fact, because there's a lot more. So the only other employee page we see that is locked is Lily's. And I'm gonna be so for real, I could not find the code. I looked everywhere, could not find it, punched in a bunch of random stuff. I'm not sure if it's super important. I mean, probably, because it's locked, but I couldn't find any way in. So after that, I went back to the blog, wanted to see if there's anything else, and we got another email from Lily that Emma posted with a password to a new area. Project 2025 is the password, which is probably going to be linked to the projects tab on the website. So I entered that in there, and it reveals a chat log between LP1 and LP2. Gonna take a guess that that's Leopold 1 and Leopold Jr. And the conversation between them is a little odd. They talk about a lawsuit and how it seems Leopold didn't even create Mexis. But the oddest thing that is revealed is at the end, they mention prayers and sayings that have to do with more references to the moon and its eyes. A little weird still, but whatever. Now, at the end of the chat log, in very tiny text, is another cipher. Listen, I may love base 64, but this is a lot. Now, the next few areas are very confusing. It has to do with the levels that are on the company website, so I'm going to be a bit brief and talk about what we found. There's a lot of web passcodes. I'm not going to reveal all of them. Well, I'll reveal a few of them, but there's a lot. So we're going to start off with ARG, which is apparently the first one. That has a note from Linda in 1953. The note is old, it's torn, and on the back of it, it has this weird cryptic message. Yet another password. So, got that. This one links up to the worker level, which shows an employee list and their statuses. Now, I noticed a couple things. First, the passcode is right in the middle of the page, smack dab in the center. So, that one's a bit easy. And there's two names on that list that stuck out. First of all, we see Ruby Martin, our missing person, so we know she definitely worked for Mexis. And for status, it says evolved, which is another level we don't have access to yet. The other name that kind of surprised me was someone by the name of Christina Lunara. Now, we know Lunara is the last name of Leopold and his children, except the only daughter we know Leopold has is Lily. So maybe this isn't his daughter, maybe a daughter-in-law. I mean, we know from the employee pages that some of his sons have wives, sometimes multiple. So, maybe? After that, the passcode unlocks Patron, which shows text messages between Franklin and Leopold Jr., where Franklin gets essentially kicked out of the company, threatens to expose them, and then is told to come into the company for the final stuff. Now, the passcode from there links to Worshipper, which shows a text between Franklin and Lily. And seeing as the passcode for this one is twins, I'm guessing that means that they're twins. Just a theory. Now, Worshipper links to Subscriber, which shows a wedding photo with some writing on it. Now, it's kind of hard to see, but to summarize, it's a conversation between Christina and Ruby, and how they have feelings for each other.
Woo, lesbians!
Woo! At the bottom of the image, we can also see a subtitle of Christina and Jr., so it seems that Christina is actually married to Leopold Jr. Alright. Now, Subscriber links to Angel, which has another wedding photo between Linda and Leopold, which has more poetry and the final passcode for the levels. And finally, we get to Evolved, which has 3 PDFs on it, each talking about some disturbing things. I'm not going to get too into it because it's kind of early disturbing, but just know that it talks about Leopold performing experiments on people. Not great. So I'm just going to kind of go over this timeline of events, kind of make sense of what we saw. So in 1954, Leopold Lunara developed Mexis, or at least claimed to, creating it into this big old business, where he begins to conduct experiments on his wives and a bunch of other women, because apparently he's married multiple women, had children with them, and then used them for his experiments. The experiments are a lot, adding eyes onto people and ultimately killing them because of how much experimenting he's doing. And he plans on continuing this with Ruby and Christina, which is why Ruby went missing. She was kidnapped to be experimented on by Leopold. Called it! So now we know what's happening. The last thing I found was that there's a new blog post on Emma's site where she is able to communicate with Ruby. I believe there's more chats. I wasn't able to find them. You know, they might be hidden. I couldn't see anything. Though, with the ability to communicate, it seems that we might actually get a happy ending for these sisters. I'm not 100% sure. I couldn't find anything else, and it wasn't... I don't know, maybe the website has updated since I filmed this. I'm not completely sure. But, you know, it seems that we're getting somewhere kind of happy. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you'd like to see more, let me know. I had a lot of fun covering this ARG, and hopefully you guys will be able to help me solve it. If you have any questions or comments, leave them down below. Like and subscribe if you enjoyed this. You do not have to. Bye-bye!